My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary forensic scientist. But secretly, with the help of my friends at Star Labs, I fight crime and find other metahumans like me. But I became lost in time. It took everything in my friend's power to bring me back. And in doing so, our world was opened up to new threats. And I'm the only one fast enough to stop them. I am the Flash.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name because we're not dissimilar from the Council of Wells, except for the part about being interdimensional doppelgangers, but then that's why they call it fiction. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Is basking in the new fall season and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live live behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The Vampire Diaries, The Good Place, Grace and Frankie, Game of Thrones, Broadchurch, Stranger Things, iZombie, Fuller House, American Horror Story, Doctor Who, Supernatural, The X-Files, and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for a series of unfortunate events, New Girl, The Originals, Gotham, Once Upon a Time, 13 Reasons Why, Orange is the New Black, Schitt's Creek, and the Marvel's Defenders panel will talk Season 2 of Iron Fist. We'll be launching new panels covering Sense8, The Crown, Westworld, Arrested Development, Jane the Virgin, and The Americans. We'll be launching a new feature called Versus, where we'll be comparing shows in a spicy debate. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels of all time, which is Friends. And I promise they'll be there for you, maybe sometime this fall or the holiday season. I don't know, they're very excited about it, but it's a big panel, guys. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live in the bunker, Comedy Outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and Grand Rapids Comic Con, and we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff, I assure you. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we always seek new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, even the Cisco-esque snarky kind. You've met us, plus cool superhero names. It's your assignment now, should you choose to accept it, is to give us all cool superhero names and contact us at our social media accounts. Good luck. Today, we're around the water cooler and continuing another of CPU's podcast series. This series does not have a fixed number of episodes like other series we do. Rather, it's ongoing and covers a number of shows that fall under one large umbrella, expanding into a quite popular universe of comic book adaptations. With that said, today's episode is part 14 of our DCTU series, in which our DCTU expert panel discusses the DC television universe, or television programs adapted from DC comic book properties that have morphed and expanded into one television universe. In this 14th episode of our DCTU podcast series, we return to the water cooler to talk the 4th season of the Arrowverse's first spin-off, which aired from October 10th, 2017 to May 22nd, 2018 on the CW. The Flash is what it's called, is an American superhero television series developed by Greg Berlanti, Andrew Kreisberg, and Jeff Johns, airing on the CW. It's based on the DC Comics character Barry Allen, or The Flash, a costumed superhero crime fighter with the power to move at superhuman speeds. It's a spin-off from Arrow, existing in the same fictional universe. The series follows Allen, portrayed by Grant Gustin, a crime scene investigator who gains superhuman speed, which he uses to fight criminals, including others who have also gained superhuman abilities. After the events of Season 3, in which Barry saves Iris West, played by Candice Patton, and defeats Savitar, Barry takes his place in the Speed Force. As the 4th season begins, and in the months since Barry left, Wally West, aka Kid Flash, played by Keenan Lonsdale, and Cisco Ramon, aka Vi, played by Carlos Valdez, have barely been able to protect Central City. When a new foe defeats them easily, requesting a battle against the Flash, the team decides to bring Barry back. Though the team manages to extract Barry from the Speed Force, Barry's return releases dark matter and transforms a dozen people on a city bus near the dark matter event into metahumans. One of these metahumans is Private Detective Ralph Dibny, aka the Elongated Man, who joins the Flash's team. As Barry and Iris subsequently prepare for their wedding, the team realizes that Barry's emergence from the Speed Force and the resulting creation of the bus metahumans were orchestrated by the Thinker, played by Neil Sandilands. Today, in the 14th episode of our DCTU series, our DCTU panel, namely Kyle, Hilary, Spencer, Kristen, and Nick, returns to focus specifically upon Season 4 of The Flash. Before we get into the discussion, as always, I'm going to take our typical moment to take the panel's temperature. After all, as we all know, sometimes the show can take turns for the better or worse in our heads, or can continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have watched every single episode of The Flash through the end of the 4th season and will without doubt discuss sensitive plot points. So for those of you who are not caught up on The Flash, or really any of the Arrowverse to date, listen at your own risk as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Great!
That was terrible.
I know. It was. That was my fault. I was crinkling a wrapper.
Okay. On that note, are you ready to talk about The Flash?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, they know how this works. Listener, I'm going to tell you. What they're going to do is rate their interest nowadays along the CPU standard character question, which changes with each show we do, and sometimes it changes from season to season, and that is also true of the Flash character question. So I'm going to read it for you and for them, and then they're going to tell you how they feel. This is how it goes for Flash Season 4. Do you watch it because you're a big Flash fan and or because you run really fast and are always motivated to do the right thing like the boring hero you are? Like Barry Allen, a.k.a. The Flash.
It sounded like you said boring.
It did. Born a hero.
Yes, you said, it sounded like you said boring, for sure.
Like the
A
boring.
boring girl.
I'm going to reread it.
That's a good plan.
Blooper reel.
Because I'm like, Barry Allen is definitely not a boring hero.
No.
Nick and I both head cocked at the same
Well,
time.
I looked up at him right away. I was like,
A take two. Do you watch it because you're a big Flash fan and or because you run really fast and are always motivated to do the right thing like the born hero you are? Like Barry Allen, a.k.a. The Flash. Do you watch it because you're a Flash fangirl and you don't care who knows it? In fact, you are motivated to tell the truth about him so much, you decide to become a journalist to uncover who he is and to report on his heroic exploits. Also, after you find out, you realize that you really love the guy wearing the Flash costume so much you'd marry him in a heartbeat. Like Iris West. Do you watch it because you're a lover of all things pop culture, particularly films, video games, and comic books, and are geeked out by all of the meta references to current pop culture, as well as to the discovery of new metahumans, so much so that you're in the game and current champion of naming them? Also, you like to build cool gadgets and to support the Flash as the scientifically advanced genius and best friend you are, and or you like to do your best in predicting future events and occurrences that may involve your favorite superhero, the Flash, and or the show just gives you a good vibe, like Cisco Ramon. Do you watch it because you believe in the Flash, either as a measure for yourself or as a measure of the good in the world? You at least find this adaptation smart, though perhaps not as smart as you, like Harry Wells. Do you watch it because you like the family aspect about the show? The Flash is like an adopted son to you and you are supportive of the story he's creating, like Joe West. Do you watch it because you've regained some interest in the show, particularly after the season of Savitar, and though you are struggling with evil impulses and urges and see flaws in what has traditionally been a tightly woven story, you are embracing everything about the show again, warts and all, because you would miss it if it was not on the air, like Caitlin Snow, aka Killer Frost. Do you watch it but you don't like it? In fact, you're ready to take down the Flash and all he stands for, especially because you think the show and the Flash are of inferior intelligence. They are certainly much dumber than you are because you regard yourself as the world's most advanced intelligence, like Clifford DeVoe, aka The Thinker. Or you don't watch it or want to watch it anymore. You might have even jumped the shark because you're a portraying actor retired from acting, and or because you may have realized that you were not appropriately cast for the character you played in the Arrowverse, like Wally West, aka Kid Flash, who would like to start.
I can go first.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was Cisco.
What is your name?
His
His name is now Cisco.
I was Cisco last time. I'm currently Nick, and I'll remain Cisco for the purposes of the podcast.
Hi, I was Cisco last time. I'll currently remain Nick, and I will remain Cisco for the podcast.
Hi.
And why are you still Cisco, Nick?
I enjoyed the season more than last season. Not enough to push me up to the Flash fangirl that some of you may be. I don't know.
You mean the person that wrote the 6 positive and 1 negative possible?
False! There are 3
Oh my
negative
gosh, you're gonna
people.
give her a heart attack.
Oh, come on.
Killer Frost is partially... She's
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 2 negative. We'll
You
give
know
you
what?
2 negative.
And she wrote it for me because I'm a fangirl. You can continue.
That one's been mostly the same since the beginning, the fangirl one, but continue.
I also enjoyed the elongated night.
Man, elongated man.
He's a nice.
Yeah, so very nice.
That's the name of an episode,
He
isn't it? The elongated
elongates
night?
with his
I think you're right.
armor.
I think you're right. Elongated night.
I'm just kidding. It's so funny.
Just talk during all of your intros.
You usually do.
Sure.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome back,
Let me
Nick.
get out the little violin. Okay, I am Hilary.
Hi,
and I'm
Hilary.
just gonna go because I'm exactly the same as I was last time. And hey,
Which is what?
I'm the Flash, Iris, and Cisco.
Okay.
I love the Flash.
Yes.
I'm a fangirl of the Flash, and I love all the Cisco-iness as per usual. It hasn't changed. I'm pretty sure it's been pretty much the same since the beginning. I feel like I don't know. Has it changed?
Not
You
a
remember
lot.
it.
You keep track of your stuff.
Not a lot.
See?
She's been the Flash and Iris most of it. Maybe not Cisco. I think you added that last time.
Sure. That's why I was asking you, because you remember better than me. I don't know.
I do listen to these a lot. Okay. And did you want to do the thing?
Oh, sure.
The thing.
And Kyle,
Disclaimer.
Kyle's going to talk in a second. He's my hubby, so there will be some probably conversing about that. And then, Kylie is the moderator, and she is the sister.
Of all of us.
Yeah,
Kinda.
related.
No.
Sister.
Oh, just your sister?
Oh, does she? Okay.
I mean, you guys
Do you
can
rent her
share.
out on weekends or?
Sure.
Okay, good.
I'm not getting paid
Cool,
for this,
I have
but
plans.
hey.
Hey.
And I'm Kyle, the
Hi,
husband.
Kyle. The husband.
And I would say I fall somewhere between the Flash, because I love the Flash, and
Oh,
I
you're
still love the
lucky.
show, and Killer Frost, based on this time's description.
Last time you were Cisco with an aspect of Savitar
Yeah.
because you did not like Savitar.
That was a bad season. Bringing back flashbacks. But, yeah, based on that, I still love the character of the Flash. I still like the show, but its flaws are more obvious in this last 2 seasons. But I'm still a fan, and I still keep watching, and I still love the actors and the characters.
So somewhere between the Flash and Killer Frost. Which means you could be any of the people
Well, I
between
mean,
Flash and Killer
Because
Frost.
I like Cisco, obviously I love pop culture, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Well,
so
that's
I mean
true.
you could throw that in there, but I was trying to not
Welcome.
throw a million characters.
He
Like
I
somebody.
don't know.
Yikes.
Technically, I think you did. But welcome back, Kyle.
I'm Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Last time I was Iris. I only picked one.
You did.
That was really surprising. Normally I pick
monumental.
multiple. So I'm
That's
gonna go,
right, Kristen.
I'm going to go back to the multiple format because
She's a multiple character sister
I am.
friend.
I'm a multifaceted person. I need multiple characters
Yeah,
to
thank
express
you.
my
So
love.
I appreciate that.
That's a good
commentary.
I appreciate you, Hillary.
Thanks.
I mean I think that's the same description as an orgy, but
This is
Whoa!
Why did you go there?
What?
Now people are going to think we're crazy
Oh my
married
gosh.
people.
Oh my gosh.
Yikes! Edit.
To get back on track.
That explains the bowl of keys in the corner.
You see
I'm leaving. I'm out. Done.
Why do
Wow.
the DC ones get crazier than the Marvel ones?
I don't understand. And why
Wow.
are you trying to say about Kristen? Like,
she said she needs multiple characters and
To express my love for the show. I can't
not love for
I
other
just-
people.
And those are. Thank you, Kylie, for that wonderful segue.
Sweet
back
Christmas!
We published that last week.
So, I'm going to continue with Iris because Flash fangirl. I really like the show. We're both writers. It works. You know, day jobs.
Iris still writes.
I know, supposedly.
As of the end of this season.
Supposedly, she still writes. But I'm also like Kyle, I am going to choose Caitlin / Killer Frost, but I'm going to choose her because she's my favorite character on the show. And the show, I can see it's getting a little repetitive, and this season was better than the Savitar season overall. So.
And you would miss it if it was not on the air?
I don't know. I don't know if that's one of the half of her description that I'm going to choose. But there's just
You're
so much.
struggling with evil impulses and urges?
Always.
Okay, that's it.
I wish I had a picture of your face when it happened.
She's sitting next
Very
to one right now.
straight face reaction. Yeah, always.
Well, that's a good segue. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Spencer.
Hi,
and
Spencer.
I am Cisco. I love pop culture. Every time there's a pop culture reference in this show, I get excited.
Last time you were also Barry, in addition to Cisco.
Yeah, this season I enjoyed more than the previous one, but the show as a whole is starting to wane a little for me. It's falling down the same rabbit hole as Arrow has. It's starting to head that direction with repetitiveness, and it's staling ever so slightly. It's day-old bread.
Okay. Welcome back, Spencer, with your day-old bread. And of course, I'm Kylie. Last time I was Barry, Iris, and a dash of Cisco. I would remain there because A, I love The Flash, B, I am a fangirl, C, I love the pop culture, but also, even though maybe there is a little bit of tarnish on the polish of this show, it's still the most entertaining one universally across all seasons of all the Arrowverse, and I still enjoy and look forward to watching it. And I liked The Thinker a lot, which we're going to talk about. So, speaking of this talking and podcasting business, let's talk about Season 4, which was the season of The Thinker, bringing out an old school Golden Age Flash villain. What did you like? What didn't you like? And go. And keep in mind, listener, that we did briefly discuss the season's first half in our mid-season roundup.
That is true. I just always feel like once we get to the end, it's hard not to still talk about the season as a whole.
No, you can.
Okay.
I was just reminding, for those who are following this series, we may actually repeat some stuff.
Well, I would say I actually really liked Ralph.
Yeah.
Even with this show where I feel like the problem the last two seasons is they focused on too many characters other than Barry, I still felt I wouldn't mind losing some of the starting cast if we kept Ralph. I really liked Ralph. And
Like who?
Oh, yeah, like who?
I wouldn't necessarily say the original characters, but I'm very, very tired of more than the Flash as a speedster. They keep introducing new
Yes.
speedsters. Ralph is a perfect partnership for Barry. It gives him help, but it's not another speedster. So it adds an element that...
And seeing the interesting ways he combines his powers
Yeah.
with his, it gives you hints of like how the Justice League should work together.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he brings a lot of lightheartedness
Yeah, the
frequently.
comedy aspect.
And that's kind of nice because Cisco did bring quite a bit of that, but he's gone through some serious things.
He's been kind of moody lately.
Yeah, there are times when he's moody and he's got his thing with Gypsy going on and things like that. So it's kind of nice to have a new character in there that is kind of, that good buddy partner to Barry.
And I think
And
that
Barry needs it too.
That
They need each other a little bit,
the
right?
comedy aspect that he brings is filling the void of the Harry that we lost, because he was more of a...
Yes.
Oh, the
Yeah.
funny
HR
Harry
Ralph.
HR from...
Mm-hmm.
I loved HR. I still
I
miss
really
HR.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Wells we have now is more brooding. And
That
he's
is true.
Yeah. But he's
Harry.
so smart.
Harry was on the second season
Mm-hmm.
and came back. I like Ralph. He is funny and interesting, and it's kind of what I enjoyed about it was they went kind of through the DC again stack of heroes and picked out a random one that not a lot of people think about, and they actually made him something on this show. And he did provide a lot of comedy that wasn't being provided elsewhere. Although, whenever Cisco and Ralph had scenes together, that was pretty... And then add Harry in it, it was pretty endlessly entertaining.
They also did a lot with that character. I feel like he had a good arc.
Yeah.
Not just learning to use his powers, but what it means to be a hero. And I think that they got to a good point where you cared what happened to him.
Yes.
And whenever they give all the side characters powers like that, we miss that arc. Like, they're just almost automatically as good as the Flash. Like, they just, like, Wally, for example, like,
Well,
they train
he
for
is
a
the
week,
example.
they train for a
I
week, and then
also-
they're equal to him, but it was
Yeah.
nice seeing him go through that and, like, realizing...
Barry was proud of him. for like all of the changes he had made.
And I loved his learning curve.
Yeah.
One of my favourite scenes throughout the whole season was where the guy was shooting at him and the bullets were bouncing off him and hitting the guy that was shooting at him.
And
And Barry's getting upset with him.
Stop shooting him! He's like, I'm not!
They added so much smart comedy with him. I mean, some of it was lowbrow, but it was done in a smart way that made sense in a storyline. He was probably the high point of this season for me.
What else did you like or not like?
I did not like the arc of Barry being in prison.
Yeah.
So the whole season came to like a grinding halt for like those 3 episodes, and then now we have that to look forward to on Arrow too.
Yay!
So
I did not like Katie Sackhoff's British accent.
my God.
Period.
I didn't like
And
her.
then didn't we talk about that in the mid-season too?
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Did
But then
It still didn't get better.
She does come
No,
back a
and
little
then they
bit.
made her a big part in the second half,
Yeah.
and
She
so
was
bad
so
in the first
ridiculous.
half.
She was like the worst part.
And it would have been fine. The
She
character
was
would have
so
been
bad.
fine, but the accent was such a distraction, especially for me being, English.
What?
Yeah, I know.
You
Shocking
are?
to everybody. I'm not putting it on badly like Katie did for this whole season. I think she's a great actress. I loved her in Battlestar. I loved her in the show that transported over to Longmire.
Maybe
This was just a terrible choice that she made.
I was gonna say
that
maybe
is-
this just wasn't the right. I mean, you can still say it's all like in that kind of realm, but maybe this just wasn't the right fit for her because I think she played it a little too campy.
Well, quite honestly, I think the entire character was superfluous. It didn't
Yes.
advance
No, it didn't.
the plot.
It was just
She
there
wasn't-
as another device.
Well, a
basically.
device for Caitlin,
Yeah.
essentially. It didn't really marry to the Thinker storyline until the very, very end. And I didn't care about her. I think that was ultimately it. Whether her British accent was put on or not, which we all know it was,
Badly.
that was the least of my troubles at the time. I was like, why is she back? She adds nothing to the story. She's
then-
not even funny.
Anyone that listens to our casts that I'm on as well, when we talk about superhero shows, I say how important the villains are. This is a good example of how a villain was used badly.
Amunet, you mean?
Amunet was just,
Yeah,
it's
it's just-
a bad
AKA
villain,
the Black
badly done, nothing I liked about it at all.
Yep, discount Magneto.
Yeah.
Discount Magneto.
Kind of,
Yeah, I see
I'm
that.
saying, and she has to bring her own special medal with her. So
She has to bring a bucket.
It's the most ridiculous power ever.
Let's have a fight. Hold on, I have to get my bucket from the car.
Yeah, she was unnecessary and made the season feel a little bloated. I will give you that. However, going back to villains, I think that it was very
You
brilliant.
think about the Thinker?
I think about the Thinker. I think he had an arc too, and I
He
think
did.
his introduction into the series was brilliant. I wish they had brought him in a little bit earlier instead of cycling through so many of the speedster villains from the annals, because he's different. He does move at a slower pace, and so I can kind of anticipate what's going to be said, but the fact is I enjoyed the fact that he was so different from the ones that we had already seen and presented all new challenges for Barry in
That's
different
what I was
ways.
going to say.
That's
I really
also where it got repetitive, though, because they kept trying to stress that he's one step ahead of them, but then all the episodes fell into the same plot of they race to stop him, and then in the last 10 minutes they pull a bait and switch and they show you how he's ahead of them. But then they did that like 8 times.
Multiple times. Oh, yeah.
It did get a little old.
And
at
it got
times.
old.
Yep.
I feel like they should have even held him back and had more standalone episodes so that when he did show
That's
up, it
what I
had
was
more
gonna say.
impact.
I was going to say, it's not even that, because I still enjoyed The Thinker too, but what I do think that separated this season more so from, especially like that first and second season, there was not nearly as many of those standalone episodes, which I do agree with him, not as much.
Vehemently.
Yes, he always feels stronger about things, but I still really loved The Thinker too. I thought he was a great character in contrast to Barry, and I do agree that the challenges that he brought him, because it wasn't just about powers and abilities and being a meta, it was on something so much deeper that Barry had to, because Barry's clever, but he still needed to really reach new heights in that to try to get anywhere with that situation. So I still really liked all of those parts, and I thought that he was a decent villain, but they probably should have broken up the story a little bit more so than what they did.
I agree, and actually it's reflective in the character question, because typically for The Flash, I had previously a separate category just for all the different little sprinkling of villains.
Yeah.
Because Flash is one of the deeper wells in the comics where villains are concerned. This time they didn't introduce anybody new villain-wise except the Thinker, and the little bus metas are villains, but like really bottom of the barrel. DC, most people haven't heard of them, villains. But they didn't introduce anybody new from either Flash's more notorious ones, or bring back ones that we've already seen, other than maybe Grodd. He was really the only one, so which is always good to see him.
I enjoy Grodd.
Yeah, every time that there's an episode with him in any part of it, I'm just like, yes. Because it's still so realistic. For the kind of budget they have, I mean,
it's a blow 3/4 of the special effects budget for the season episode.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it looks better
announce
than anything in the Justice League
in the
movie.
next season.
I mean, seriously.
Especially Superman's mustache.
In the next season, they have a
poor him.
Grodd and King Shark episode that they said is taking up a huge chunk of their budget because they're having them team up, which I think will be awesome.
It could be really fun.
What?
It is definitely the most fun DC show.
It's more fun than Legends. I feel like that's how
Well,
I
no, it's
describe
not.
Legends.
No,
just
it's
fun.
from a story point of view.
I think it's more
Continuous
well-rounded
story. Yeah,
because
I agree with that.
Arrow goes one direction all the time. Supergirl is not really finding its footing right now, and Legends has just been always campy fun. So you get kind of a little bit of everything with the Flash, and I still think that's why everybody liked it so much from the beginning. And I still think that even with it maybe having a weaker season, it still ends up being everybody's favorite.
I think Flash started out on the right foot, but this season not so bad as the Savitar season, but it definitely is starting to fall into that Arrow avenue of repetitiveness, of not really having an end game in sight, and also the restrictions of the studio.
I don't know if I agree with that for the Flash. I honestly don't. I have instant responses to that thought-wise. The first is that the first 2 seasons of the Flash were so strong. They were the strongest of all of the Arrowverse.
Don't disagree with that.
First 2 seasons, including Arrow's first 2 seasons. That's really hard to kind of try to get back to.
That's a really big shoe to fill.
It's a really big bar to try to...
Yeah, they set the bar very high.
Yeah. So number 1. Number 2, I don't feel that it is following the same pattern as Arrow. Arrow
has been god-awful for a long time.
Well, it's had way more network interference. It's had
big
way
problem.
more floundering. And really, the best character that everybody likes is Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has been in and out and up and down as far as whether or not, and this I'm talking about this panel, whether or not we like them. I think the Flash has consistent characters that we always like. It's the strongest ensemble. It's been the most consistent ensemble, because Legends has a strong ensemble now, but it didn't when it started.
And it changes. It changes often.
Yes.
But and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm
with
okay
their
with
ensemble
them changing them in and out.
Right. So for Flash, even though, again, as Hilary was saying, these last 2 might have been weaker than the first 2, I don't think it's on the Arrow trek at all. I think it has positives that will keep it from getting there.
I hope so, but that's kind of what happened with Arrow. The first 2 seasons were very strong, and then it had a couple of weaker seasons, and then it kind of went off the rails.
But I think the problem was, though, I mean, seasons 3 and 4 were, to me, way worse in terms of Arrow than seasons 3 and 4.
Although Savitar was a pretty bad season.
But again, I believe I said, well, at least for me during that podcast, is that even still, Flash at its worst is still by far better than anything in the rest of the Arrowverse, in my personal feeling.
And really, aside from the cheesy special effects, the dark time remnant emo Barry being Savitar, and the fact that they blew Flashpoint, I think that's the biggest disappointment.
Absolutely
off
flopped.
that season.
And I think what happened there is that they were so keyed in on doing it, and then they got there and went, holy crap, this will have such an effect on all of our properties, we're going to have to do a throwaway because we can't have it. So in the end, it ended up changing a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy or whatever.
And part of it was the script for the Flash movie was going to be Flashpoint. When they were starting to develop that, and so they quickly said, "Oh, you can't do that."
Yep.
Flash.
Again.
Then that script and that's part of the problem with some of the reoccurring characters is
So maybe
they've
that's
thrown away 3 different Flash movie scripts, but then they keep saying, "Oh, we're going to use this character. You can't use them in the show," and they keep doing that again for this season.
Mm-hmm.
even though the Flash movie is like at a standstill.
And the show is so much more commercially
Yes.
successful.
So the moral is DC and Warner Brothers keep effing up their own stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean that's the underline. I mean every CW podcast we do, that always ends up being the underlying.
Well, it's because-
You know, they're trying so hard to be like Marvel. Why don't you actually try being like Marvel for once? That would be great.
Right. Have your same.
But Marvel does the same thing. They don't let any of their big characters be in their TV shows. You're not going to see Iron Man show up on Jessica Jones.
You don't need to.
But-
It's already good on
The
its
other
own.
thing is they have a stronger overarching
Yes.
plan.
Well, they do.
Always.
Their story is completely interlaced throughout their movies,
And
and very
that's-
cleverly.
So it's
It's-
last second, oh, you already started planning
That's what
your
I'm saying.
season, Arrow, but
There's
we're going to change.
all
So
of
the
their-
guy in charge of Marvel cares about Marvel properties, not just
Exactly.
about dollars.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yes.
the guy in charge of DC is, well, we want to make $1 billion off of this movie, so we
Yes.
don't want to tarnish it by having this character appear in a TV show that's going to make us $100,000.
Which is just crazy in this day and
It's
age.
insane.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, that's
People
what
are
I'm
watching
saying.
the Flash show because they like the Flash. They're going to go see the Flash movie.
That's
Yeah.
what I said. You can expand those properties as much as you want. I mean, this has been the best time in history for all these comic book releases.
Yeah.
So just seriously embrace it.
Just to clarify.
Sorry.
Just to clarify, while you will never see Captain America or Iron Man on the small screen, they did allow
reference
supporting characters
To
and
reference them.
appearances. Nick Fury, Lady Sif, and
Maria Hill.
Maria Hill all appeared on Agents of
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Now nobody wants to watch it, but they're there.
I think that might have been a desperate attempt
Well,
to
they-
try and get people to watch Agents
Yeah.
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well,
though.
but
It
it's
was
still-
it was
it's still-
floundering.
But they
It
were
still
also
counters the point.
But
They
they were
still
also
got a
included
plan.
before Marvel kind of like,
Right.
Shield, bye.
Although they
Your
brought him
corner.
back in because they totally referenced Avengers
Did
3
they
by
again?
the end of the season.
Okay.
Thanos is a whole
I
thing.
still haven't seen that.
Yeah, so they do allow
Shameful.
that, number one. Number two, as far as being the focus of a television show, you're right, because they're going to be more lucrative in the movies. That's why they have the Defenders. So that they've at least mapped it out. So that's what makes Marvel different from DC. And Warner Brothers, who owns the property, who I think is probably the bigger culprit. I think DC's just like make us money. But they're not allowing they're not allowing an overlap. They're trying to ramrod characters in two different directions.
Yeah.
And they're interfering with story progression. And that is a problem.
That's really what derailed
DC
Arrow.
even has started to make a lot of these mistakes in their comic book stories too. I mean, it's not just on screen, believe me.
And frankly, if you're listening, network executives, doing an Ezra Miller film about Flashpoint is
Ugh.
a bad
That's a turd that needs flushing before it starts. I
not a
did
good
not like
Flash.
him as the
No.
Flash at all.
He's not a good Barry Allen,
He's not
No,
a good
he's
any
not.
of it.
for sure.
Anyway.
Leave him in
He
the
shouldn't
Harry
be
Potter
very-
universe.
I was going to say, his
He's so
character
much
was so much
better.
more like the character he played in Harry Potter than he
He's
was
so
the
much
Flash.
better in Fantastic Beasts. Leave him there. He's fine.
I mean, go back and watch the Justice League cartoons from the 90s. That's how Flash should be.
Right.
Ezra Miller is so far away from anything close to that
Yeah.
for Barry Allen. I don't even think there is an
I mean,
incarnation
I
of the
don't even
Flash
think
that's
you
that
even have to
way.
worry about. I mean, all those movies, dead standstill now,
Except for Wonder Woman,
except for Wonder
because it
Woman.
was the most commercially successful.
And the new Joker movie, which has
Joaquin
it's
Phoenix,
considered
right?
an Elseworlds movie.
Aren't they calling that Arthur?
Huh?
Aren't they calling it Arthur? It looks really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an Elseworlds movie that takes place in the 80s, but everything with the Justice League and the Zack Snyder universe is pretty much being
Alternative universe.
Dead.
dead in the water.
That's good news.
That is good
Had a
news, actually.
questioning look, I explained.
It's exhausting.
Thinkers, what did
You're
I
mentally
think of the
exhausting
Thinker's
us, Warner
wife?
Brothers.
Marliese
Marliese.
or Marliese?
Marliese.
Marliese.
I'll say my biggest problem with that storyline is she was going to be the linchpin to defeating Thinker.
Yeah.
You saw that coming early,
Yeah, you did.
very
Yes.
early.
A long time.
Yeah, I liked her better when she had more agency. When she was just like, "Okay, dear, whatever you want." I'm like, "Really, honey?"
But I liked how they explained that because he was
Dosing her.
he was dosing
He was.
her,
Yes.
and it made
But
sense.
even like before that, a little bit too. You know, she was still kind of that wife, and then she started to get that.
She was
agency.
because she was more
hero
fangirly.
She was more
at the-
fangirl at the first, and then when she started to realize, "Hey, this isn't right," that's when he drugged
But
her.
Because she loved
it was
him, but
it was
their
the drugs
relationship-
wearing off that is when she started to think, "Wait, it's not
Yeah.
right." So then he'd redose her, and
Yeah.
they'd
But
go
once,
through that
yeah,
cycle.
so once she figured it out and was no longer being drugged up, and she got her
Yeah, because it's
backbone
almost
back,
she
then
had
I
to
liked
come,
her a lot more.
Yeah, she had to come to that realization that parts
Yeah.
of their marriage were
Not as
a bit of a
great.
farce.
Yeah, I didn't love her.
I don't think you're so.
She was a plot
supposed-
device.
She was
Yes.
a plot device. I mean, agency is a good word. Not so much talking about her decisions and just how she relates
Maybe
to her
she didn't have
husband,
as much charisma as the actual Thinker
she
did.
lacked charisma and sympathy by the end, and she does turn into be kind of like the hero of the piece, but
Ish.
you don't care about her by the time.
I was gonna say, after her testimony at Barry's trial, and they're pretty much like, "Why are you lying? Why are you lying?" and she just held to it. She was irredeemable to me at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I loved when Ralph came in as the
DeVoe.
Thinker, as
Yeah,
DeVoe,
that was
and the
really
shocked look on her
Shape-shifting
face.
abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really fun.
I loved that reveal when he's like, "Oh, I can do this." Like, that was awesome.
I also like the parts where like his eyebrow would fall. I don't quite have full control of this power yet.
Yep. That was cool to see his learning curve a little bit.
Yeah, everything about Ralph was very well executed.
Absolutely.
I don't have any problems with the Ralph storyline from beginning to end.
No, and he was so well cast.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
get over how perfectly cast he was.
I've not seen that actor in anything before either. That was the first
He
time I've
was
seen
new.
him.
Yeah.
He's on some CW, he was on a different CW, or a show that CW Seed picked up or something that are airing the reruns, because I forget what I watch on CW Seed that. It's like
You're their viewer.
The one
think
here!
Daisies is on it.
Pushing Daisies and Who's Lying.
Constantine.
Didn't you like that show?
What?
Pushing Daisies was the
Yeah, that's
best.
good.
Yeah, he's
I
on
can't
some zombie
remember.
show where
It's
the main guy
lovely.
is trying to lose his virginity, but people keep
Is
dying.
Pushing Daisies the one with Kristen Chenoweth?
Yes.
Okay.
It's good.
It was on ABC back in the day and was a victim of the writer's
I
strike.
feel,
And it was
I feel like I
amazing.
saw some of those. Okay.
It's
It's
so
worth
cute.
watching.
Anyway,
and-
The Flash.
And with like DeVoe killing all the bus metas, like you didn't care about any of that until it got to Ralph.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
it got to Ralph, it was
Oh,
like, oh
Ralph.
no. And thinking he was actually gone.
Yo, that
Was-
actually crushed me.
And me too. I was like, they can't.
And-
He's
but-
such
and
a
then their
beautiful
reunion-
I
character.
know.
The fact that you had no idea, it wasn't like, if it was Iris, oh, she'll be back. It was a
Yeah.
character that...
He was a
You
disposable
didn't know
character
it was
in the
all.
sense of the way that the show progresses normally,
Yeah.
and the fact that we got him back was like this massive victory at the
Well,
end.
and after
Yeah.
losing HR, you really didn't know. Are they going to
Yeah.
do this again?
Yeah,
I felt a little something for Hazard, the one with all the luck.
Yes.
bad.
Yeah, I
think
did
they
too by the
build
end.
Build up to that well.
I liked
And
what they
she was
brought.
cute. They had a nice little rapport.
Yeah.
Her and Barry.
She
And
had redeeming qualities, like
She did. and
she
then-
wasn't trying to be a villain. She just got
No.
hijacked by the guy's consciousness. What are you gonna do?
And that was sad too. And Barry was so close to saving her, and then, bam, the chair gets her.
yeah.
That was like a little shock too. But
the chair was pretty cool.
the chair was cool.
I didn't care about the shrinking guy or Black Bison.
No.
What's the shrinking guy's name again? They all have real names.
Good deal. I really thought the big one that was supposed to like defeat the Thinker with
Brainiac.
no, what?
No,
with
we're
his
not-
fiddle?
No, we're not Superman.
Oh, sorry, with the guy with the brain. Brainstorm.
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 Yeah, he
Think
was
about
okay.
the musician chick who could focus her.
The violinist.
She was really good.
Then I came up to her. I don't know. I just
I
didn't.
just didn't like the choice of music.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would? Well, I think they were trying to be a literal about the fiddler because that's the character's name. Yeah, Kilgore. That was one of them.
Kilgore felt like he not
Not
necessarily
Kilgrave.
I know. I was like, that's oddly very close.
I do, yes.
not necessarily this portrayal of Kilgore, but his powers. I feel like could be a bigger villain.
Oh, could be a major
Especially
villain.
like going against the Thinker who was so technology dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it would have been better to see them like a bigger fight between them.
I'm a little
But he was
sad
really
that they
dumb.
cycled through
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
and killed
Yeah.
them all.
It's like he
For a
can
guy
control
supposed to be like
technology,
that.
but he's dumber than a box of hammers.
Dwarf Star's the shrinky guy.
It was kind of crazy, though, and this is totally off topic. Are we done talking about them?
Although the guy, although the actor,
Hilary is.
After that played Dwarf Star, he's one of my. I love him. He played Jason Voorhees in some of those movies, but he just got cast as Swamp Thing in the new Swamp Thing movie
You're
or
very
TV
excited,
show.
aren't you?
So I'm very excited about that.
Okay.
Because it's going to be rated R and like no interference from.
So
Well, I hope they don't have
say.
too big of a
That's what I was
budget if they
just
want to make a
gonna
profit.
They always make all these
Swamp Thing is
promises.
a DC property.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Proceed.
Well, I was gonna say because we kind of skipped into like a lot of the character stuff, but some of the story stuff, like it was really crazy when Barry came out of the Speed Force and he was all wonky.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
I know.
I kept going back and looking at
though.
pictures of the symbols, trying to see if they were actually Kryptonian.
Were they?
When you think back to Smallville and
Right.
how Clark,
Loved it.
the symbolism looked
Yep.
quite similar. So I was going back and trying to see if there was, and then obviously
No
there
Easter
wasn't.
eggs.
But-
Actually, that's the thing that kind of ate at me by the end of the season is he jumps out of the Speed Force. He's in this state. We know why, but they never revisited it, and
Yeah.
they did revisit the Speed Force journey a couple of times. So
Well, a lot of the things he said when he came out of the Speed Force they revisited, but they didn't. Yeah, there were bits that they've kind of left, but I'm thinking that with the girl who appeared several times, who we later on find out is actually Barry and Iris's daughter.
No
Nora.
surprise there.
No, it wasn't
No
a surprise.
surprise.
But the fact that she's going to be a big part of this next season leads me to believe that a lot of that stuff that we didn't get any answer to is still going to be central focus of what's coming up.
okay, I hope that's true because I feel like they seeded a lot of plot threads apart from the Thinker that I'm hoping you're right as our seeds for something else because otherwise it would be sad if they.
Well, she was writing the same language or the same symbols in her notebook all
She
the way through the
was.
season. So those symbols were the same as what Barry had written. So at some point there's going to have to be a nexus between all of that. Or there should be if it's good storytelling,
be.
which
Well,
Flash usually is.
Yes, and I just like when it gets to that point where he finally, like, again, it's a nice callback to, again, a lot of that beginning stuff where Iris is the one that helps him snap out of it finally. And then he goes full-blown Flash badassness saving her. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You don't remember that? Do you remember
Yeah.
that part? I'm not
That's-
explaining it well. Sorry.
He's
That's
essentially
not my job,
catatonic.
it's yours.
He's essentially catatonic until Iris is in trouble. And
Got it.
she's like his compass, like
Yeah.
something happens to her and he's
He
comes
did
right
tell
back.
her she's his lightning rod
Yes.
this season.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's very
I
sweet.
know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why?
You
Don't
stop it.
Tell
He's
your
being,
wife that she's your lightning rod.
he's being inappropriate.
I know.
No, I was not.
He lacks sentiment.
Yeah.
That's not true either.
Wait, the Grinch has a heart?
It grew 3 sizes that day.
Wow.
It's black, but I do.
Oh! boy. Anyway, the Flash. Yes.
Anyways, I just really liked that moment.
Okay. And of course, they got married.
I just
this
like
season.
when the Flash is actually fully hardcore being the Flash. That's the point I was driving to.
That's what I wanted to ask about. What did you think about Flash Time?
I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
great that
Yeah.
he could bring other people in there, but they could, their
It
operation state
really-
was completely different. It was really clever.
Really
And
helped
really-
people see things from a different perspective.
And really that's what a speedster's point of view would be like, because a lot of times they show it and he's still talking to them like over the radio, but if he was actually moving at super speeds,
It's like blue.
the conversations wouldn't sync up.
That's okay, because Cisco is a master with technology, and that's why that
Yeah.
works. Oh, so there was an episode where they broke into a prison, and he used them
Broken
in
Iron
Flash Time to do
Yeah.
stuff. That was so clever. And the fact that
Yeah.
it was so much on the very edge of success or failure, it gave it a really nice dramatic element for a while there.
That's what it's called, right? Or am I confusing
Flash
it
Time?
with- No, the prison. Am I confusing it with
Were they-
Marvel?
Weren't they in Iron Heights?
That's what I said, but
Yeah.
I'm starting
Yeah.
to get all confused. There's so much prison.
Too much prison right
Yeah,
now.
it's Iron Heights.
Okay, agreed. No, I also think it was very clever. It saved them money on special effects. That's what I thought. Oh, hi, they can do that. But also, I thought back to all the times when Hilary complained that Kid Flash was getting too fast and Flash wasn't flashy enough. And then
I mean,
they
I
gave
think
him Flash Time.
I was going to say, I think we all kind of were.
I know,
bit.
but you led the charge.
Because it's ridiculous. I mean, sorry, guy that plays Kid Flash.
Yes,
Lonsdale.
so bad that we don't remember your name.
Eden Lonsdale.
So bad that he's quit acting.
Well, I can't do anything about that.
No, I'm not saying that he should give up. I just think that maybe that was not the right place for him to be, and it just, again...
I don't blame him, honestly. I blame the casting director. They should have been
Yeah.
able to see that it was a bad fit from the beginning.
And they just shouldn't have given him all that, like Kyle has said, like a lot of times. It shouldn't be that way. I mean, Barry is still becoming Barry. There shouldn't be these other characters coming in who are at the same level that he is. It just shouldn't be.
Well, we've also said quite a few times on this series of Flash episodes that Kid Flash was just introduced way too early. So
Yeah.
even if there was some sort of glimmer of potential than how he related to the rest of the cast and so forth. They really should have stretched out his development more than they did. I think he just came on too strong too quickly.
I mean, even the cockiness he had wasn't true to the character in the comic books. It was... Kid Flash is very cocky, but he
like
didn't...
jokey, but he cares. It seemed like Wally, when he first was introduced, like he was just a jerk.
He was an asshole, yeah.
It's fine. People can say naughty
These
words.
are not Netflix shows. They are PG rated. Okay.
Apologies. It was a butthole.
Fair enough.
Edit.
He was a rectal orifice.
Well, now we're just getting crazy. Wow. So Kevin Smith directed another episode, and Jay and Silent Bob were both in it.
I loved that.
That was amazing.
I mean,
I just love
But they
that.
were.
But they were.
I just love that Kevin Smith just loves the Flash so much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fanboy himself about lots of things, but the fact that he just loves the Flash so much makes me feel good about
And
loving
I
the
will
Flash so
lobby.
much.
I will lobby for this till my dying breath. Give Kevin Smith a major DC movie.
Oh, he
there
will
is
do
no
great
one
work.
better. Even though he doesn't want to do it, I think that's more he's scared of handling such a big budget film.
Well,
That's because
did
he
you hear
wrote
about
his Batman story.
His Superman story.
Sorry.
He wrote the script for Superman Lives, which was supposed to be...
Was that Nick Cage thing?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah, he wrote the script, and then the studio execs kept saying, add a giant spider,
Say Batman.
Oh.
Yeah.
add a fight with polar bears. He's like, but that's
But
nothing to do
there
with my
is
story.
no one better in the directing world right now to handle something like a Batman than Kevin Smith. And nobody's offering it to him. He's trying to take it because of his experience with Superman then. It's a shame that these films keep getting handed to people, or these properties in general keep getting handed to people that don't have a love
A
for
passion for it. Can Kevin Smith just direct the big epic crossover this upcoming
That
fall?
would be fantastic.
That's a good idea.
That would be a good way for him to get his feet wet in something
Especially
a little
since Superman's
bigger.
in it. Superman is one of his favorites.
There you
so-
go.
Yeah, Superman and Batman are his two big favourites.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get the
That's why
introduction
we
of the
Batwoman.
the Batwoman character in
Ruby
that
Rose.
crossover.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is all going to happen.
that'll
Well,
be interesting.
Speaking of crossovers, we had a really great one this season again.
We did.
We did a whole podcast on
Yeah,
it.
we did a whole
But
episode
their
on it.
Flash episode, we can talk about the Flash in it.
Okay, go Spencer.
No, not just me. I was just trying to help us along here.
Well, I was just reading through the different things. So we met Trickster Jr.,
Yeah.
Axel Walker.
It wasn't a bad episode, I just didn't like the character.
Technically,
No.
we already met him, but this time we met his
Mom.
As Prank.
who played Prank in the original series.
Yeah.
Did anybody
Awesome.
else just keep hoping Mark Hamill was going to show
Yes.
I
up?
did.
He's
Even
very
though it's like I
busy.
knew he was busy, I kept hoping
very
he'd
busy.
like
Busy
pop
doing
up.
what? This is more
A
important.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
No.
He was busy growing a beard.
He's got a lot of Star Wars to do.
I mean, he's
They haven't killed
Luke.
him
he's
off
kind
yet.
of
They
important.
did, but
You can't kill off a Jedi.
Yeah.
They
Like they
exist
do
even
that
when
all-
they're dead.
They
They
exist
become
in
a
the
thing.
But then they can film it in a corner in his house
Yeah.
that's green.
That's true.
They could.
I don't know.
He's too busy for the green thing, man.
He does other things too.
Yeah.
I know. but
He's,
he
he's
should do
the
kind
that.
of popular.
He's
right?
the longest
had
running
a
Joker.
career renaissance.
He's the best Joker.
Mm-hmm.
He is the best Joker.
well, he just joined the cast of some other show,
A
period
fantasy show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Nightfall.
Huh.
Knigh.
Anyways, Mark
Oh,
Hamill, you're
yeah.
cool.
Please come on, The Flash.
We all
Yeah,
love
come
Mark
back
Hamill.
and be
Yeah, be
Trickster.
Trickster again.
We like you.
Yeah, your son's out of control.
I do. You're so
And obnoxious.
Yeah.
We did meet him before because that's when he did the whole thing, I am your father. No. That's impossible.
It was so. Yeah, it was
That-
funny.
And
I
Cisco
liked
broke
it.
up with Gypsy this season.
Yeah.
After Breacher had to retire because of
Impudence.
Impotence.
age, Spencer.
But it was the way they did the
preaching
storyline
impotence.
was kind of
There was a double on
I
time.
Yes.
love Danny Trejo.
yeah, it was a good.
I
good
would be
character.
Ironically, before the season, we were at Comic-Con, and I was dressed as Jay Garrick, and he was walked by me.
Yes!
He stops,
He
he
was
gets
at
so
that
excited, he
Comic-Con,
goes,
I forgot.
Flash, I'm gonna be in it.
Nice, Danny.
Because he's one of the type of because some of them pretty much stay to like their tables. They don't really, but a lot of there are celebrities that just go out and walk the floor, and he's one of them. He's not afraid to go out and talk to people and just shop and comment
Interact
on people.
with
Yes,
Kyle.
interact with people. It's
That's
so
awesome.
fun. But yes, I enjoyed his character. I thought it was funny.
I
With
did, I liked
Cisco,
him.
I would be afraid
Yeah.
if I was Cisco.
But he's not going to be Breacher anymore because he's lost his vibe.
I know, that's sad.
And then they invited Cisco to come over to that Earth, which I believe is
can't do
19,
it.
and he would have if
He
she
would've.
wanted to take it to the next level, but she
She
did not.
didn't. I know.
Yeah.
He wanted to further that was really sad. I felt bad for Cisco. I liked them together.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but
she'll
I'm
be
glad he
back.
didn't leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been. I would have been
would've
off
been a
the
loss.
Flash train if Cisco left the show. He
would've
is
been a
so
big
important to the
loss.
chemistry.
Since we're talking about Cisco, I think one of the funniest little jokes was when he got the box that he thought was the breakup box,
Yes.
but it was a sext.
Yes, it's and Harrison's in the background going.
No.
It's funny because like when they did that joke with Wally about him getting broken up, like it was funny there, and I was glad that they kind of brought it back.
And I believe they said the material of that box is Atlantean.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
An
did.
Easter egg from the earlier part of the season.
Mm.
I like it when they do that stuff.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
if
the
it's
Flash does.
Aquaman.
The Flash does it better than any other property as well, with their Easter eggs and their pop culture references. Especially anytime Cisco speaks and something's going on, it's usually very pop culture reference.
But even
his
like,
T-shirts,
yeah,
everything.
like the costume department is really good with that too, with dressing Cisco. So whoever is Cisco's wardrobe supervisor, you are awesome, and we love your style for him.
He really likes Game of Thrones.
Aww.
Medieval musical chairs.
And we should probably talk about what I believe is permanent departure of Leonard / Leo / anything Snart, aka Captain Cold, from all the
Yeah.
Earths.
It's a big mistake, but I understand the actor not wanting to do it anymore, so you can't replace him,
No.
unfortunately.
He's just so perfect for that part.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate with Captain Cold as being the Flash's most recurring villain / friend /
He's a
Frenemy.
frenemy.
Yeah.
But
So it's a
so
big loss
brilliant.
for the show and for the Flash, but he has a lot of personal issues, so it's understandable.
Yeah, he did it a lot for personal reasons, which, I'm sorry, Wentworth, but we love you.
Yeah.
The only way, I think they could recast it with the fact that we do have all of these multiple Earths, but it will be very difficult for whoever takes up that mantle to come in and be Captain Cold after what we got from Wentworth
Yeah.
Miller.
And really, I would agreed. And Captain Cold is one of the more recurring characters, although if they found a way to bring back Reverse Flash, I'd be very happy as well. It feels like they keep shuttling off the big ones to the side, except, Thinker was the season, but that's how I feel.
But I mean, they did set up Reverse Flash in Crisis on Earth X, especially at the end where he's like, "Oh, I wonder what face I'll be wearing next time we meet."
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
very nice moment.
I hope that means something. I hope it's
It
important.
will. It will.
General rule of thumb in TV and film is if you show something like that, it is for a reason.
I hope so.
He could be a big villain in this upcoming.
I mean, just the fact that he specifically said that line of, "I wonder what face I'll be wearing next time we meet," really does lead me to believe there is a plan to bring Reverse Flash back.
Yeah.
I really hope so. He's like the big guy. He's the dude.
And I hope they bring him back on The Flash and not on Legends or
Right.
something else. I want
I
him
would
to
even be
against
fine
the
with them
Flash.
bringing Damian Dark back as just a Flash villain. Like, I know we saw a lot of him in Legends of Tomorrow,
he
but
fits well there.
I love Neil McDonough. I think he's
and
fantastic.
he's
Everything
really
is great.
powerful enough to where he actually could pose a threat. Because I mean, Barry's speed can only do so much against supernatural magic. So,
And then we get to see Constantine on the Flash and see how
Exactly.
that dynamic works as well.
I just love him.
Now he's being used correctly and not on NBC. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So at the end of the season, I'm trying, I guess, to get there because really there isn't a lot that happens. The main arc is that the Thinker is trying to make everybody dumb.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
trying to be the smartest so that he can basically control.
and melt everybody's brain
I
with
want to
satellites.
rule the world.
A little bit. And so,
Why did I do that accent?
I don't know.
Edit.
No, keep it in. It's about time.
Outtakes!
well, I suppose before we get to the end, we should maybe talk a little bit about Caitlin and her existential struggle. The
I
suggestion...
love when she's Killer Frost.
I know.
I did too.
There was the Thinker's, whatever he did to her that made Killer Frost dormant for a while. What did we think about that? And at the very end, which doesn't relate to the rest of the end, part of the cliffhanger is that she remembers that Killer Frost came out when she was a child.
Yeah, Killer Frost has always been in her. It has nothing to do with the
particle
accelerator
accelerator.
explosion, which is super interesting.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, then it fills in the world, because in the DC universe, there's all different factors. It's not just that. So I feel like that's going to make it richer when
Yes.
they delve into
But
this.
it also allows them, being when the Thinker took someone's powers, they were gone. It allows them to bring Killer Frost back with an answer already there for, well, how did she get her powers back? They've always been part of her. It wasn't anything to do with black or dark matter. So
I love that.
And
I
I'm
love
also-
everything about that.
And I'm just glad with the Killer Frost plot, they didn't make it too melodramatic again. They kind of made it have more fun with it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they all like hanging out with Killer Frost
The
more.
inside
Funner.
jokes.
She's fun.
Well, I also like that there is now a relationship directly between Caitlin and Killer Frost.
Yeah.
They understand each other to a point. They know that they need each other. And seeing that develop out will be fun, too.
Yeah.
Again, I just love when, like, Killer Frost is making fun of, like, what Caitlyn wears.
Yeah, the
and things
wardrobe
like
jokes are great.
that. She's like,
ugh.
she's like, what's wrong with her?
Well, it also gives Danielle Panabaker a chance to stretch as an
Yeah.
actor,
Yes.
because I feel like I said this from the very beginning, and I love the Caitlyn character, but she doesn't really have a lot of
Caitlin is
Depth.
boring
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
individual. She works well as part of the whole, but
Right.
if you
Yeah.
just took her as an individual, you wouldn't want to watch that for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
I think she's underused too.
She is underused.
I think, yeah, they could
So I think
definitely
they could still
weave
do more
her
with
in more.
Caitlyn, but I like what they're doing with Killer Frost.
Yeah.
Very
I
good.
guess the one difference between her character and with Cisco and the Flash or Barry is Cisco and Barry are always both, whereas Caitlin is either
One
Caitlin
or the
or
other.
Killer Frost, and they're completely separate.
Yeah, agreed. I have nothing to say.
I think they show a lot more of her actual Killer Frost abilities in this season.
They do.
Which is really cool to see, because it's like you wonder how that's going to translate on like a TV show, and I think they do a really great
There was
job.
actually
of it.
that one scene where she came in on the
Yes.
ice.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That was just dope.
In DC Universe, Killer Frost is a formidable villain.
Yeah, she
fights
is.
Superman
She's
and
scary.
Batman.
Yeah,
She's
she
not a
is.
little
She's
side
powerful.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get to that point where we can see her at her full strength, because obviously she's still coming into her own.
I think they're building up for her. I do. And maybe she'll have more of a facet as these seasons wear on. But the major overall plot of this season was that the Thinker was trying to A, beat the Flash, and B, make sure that everybody else was dumber than him, so that he and Marlize can go on and live their utopian life as really smart people and rulers of the world, I guess. I liked the Thinker, but
guess.
where I stumbled with the season was the end. I thought the end was incredibly anticlimactic, because we've already mentioned Amunet and her stupid medal. So she gives them the medal so that they can hurl it at a satellite.
Like there isn't anything else they have at Star Labs
This
that
is
can
what
do
I'm
it other
saying.
than the stupid,
Yeah.
their stupid bucket of metal.
I don't understand why the medal was the thing. And then, so while the satellites are coming online and the brains of everybody are gradually frying, Cecile, who is now Joe's wife and is pregnant, is going into labor. They're stuck in Star Labs. We did talk a little bit about Ralph dying, but he comes back to life because Barry has to go into Clifford's consciousness. And there's a
Yeah.
whole episode around that.
And he finds Ralph in there.
He does.
Yay!
So talk about all of this
Hi, Ralph.
business.
Now that part I really liked.
Yeah.
Because it brought back, obviously, Ralph, or Elongated Man.
Well, and
who
it
was-
gave him like the hope that he needed, because it made Barry feel again that he wasn't totally
Gone.
defeated in the situation.
Do we know whether he's a series regular for next season?
He is.
He is?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
Good,
We'll
'cause
verify. if
They
the
waited.
blog post.
They waited to announce it until after
The
the
season,
episode
yeah.
when they showed him come back, because they didn't want to spoil
Right.
that he wasn't dead. But yeah, he is going to be in the next season.
Well, good, because he adds a
We need
lovely
him.
element.
Well, I just love that too, and the realization that it's his body and DeVoe's just a consciousness, and then and then
Epic.
him turning that around on DeVoe, that he's in control, not him.
Any other thoughts about the end?
I was just glad to see the Thinker go by the end of it. I liked the character at the beginning. It was a nice, dark character with, again, a villain that, if you look at it from their perspective, you can kind of see their point of view to a certain end. But by the end, he was tedious to me by the
I'll
end.
say his overall plot, or his overall plan for humanity was generic. Whereas the whole time you're trying to figure out why does he want these powers, what is he going to do with them, and the fact that him and his wife think it's for the greater good of humanity, I thought it would be building towards something more interesting.
I would agree with that. So it's not the thinker that I didn't like, it's the story they gave him.
Mm-hmm.
That, in the end, kind of landed with a mediocre thud.
Well, and in the end, did he need any of those powers other than Kilgore's to affect the satellites? And like it seemed like the plot, his whole plot, and everything.
All he needed was one different body that wasn't dying to replace his first body. Mm-hmm. But then other than that, yeah.
It's like they invented steps so that
mm-hmm.
it seemed like he had to make all these steps.
And then in the fight, like, they found really weird ways, like, for him to use Dwarf Star's power. I was like, you didn't need that.
I do think they explained some of it. I mean, I think what he anticipated in creating the bus full of metas was that a host would be available to him. He didn't know which one. Mm-hmm. So he cycled through them, but then also Marlize, in whatever moments of lucidness, actually says to him, now you're just killing to kill. You're not trying to find your perfect host anymore. Mm-hmm. So
I was a little perturbed also by the fact that Marlize was completely ready to go into a relationship with whatever body Clifford was inhabiting at the time. That was a bit too much.
She was hesitant at first. Until he started drugging her.
Right.
Yeah, basically, Clifford DeVoe was a horrible person.
It does have a broader context for today's social times.
He's so murdery. I'm just saying.
Yes!
Murdery and Bill Cosby, like, with the roofies on his wife.
That's what I was going for. He just went for it.
Yeah, I don't pull my punches ever.
So they do this thing and they bring the consciousness back and Ralph is alive. And Marlize does the thing with the chair and kills the consciousness of her husband.
Mm-hmm. Yay!
And you think everything is done, but then who comes back?
Kid Flash.
No. Well, yeah, but
he comes back to see his kid sister.
Bring back to home.
But his niece from the future, Kid Flash's niece, Nora, she comes in and confirms what we all suspected, that she was their daughter. From
Worst kept secret ever.
You knew when she showed up at their wedding.
Yes. Yeah, she looked so like... It was good casting.
It is good casting.
I mean,
it was pretty much the first fan theory that was floated within 10 minutes of the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, her name is Nora.
But you didn't know her name until later.
That's true.
Anyway, she comes back and she says, I think I made a big mistake because... You see somebody wearing purple helping Barry as they're trying to, destroy the one remaining satellite that will fry everybody's brain. She helps them with that. So, now to go to all this Flashpoint talk. Are they trying to redux it with daughter Nora?
No.
It's a different storyline.
Okay.
Kyle
Do you want to talk about it, or do you think you'll spoil too much?
I mean, I just don't know. I feel like they're going to make it less grand, like they keep doing from the comics, so...
They do a watered down version.
They do a tease and then a watered down version as soon as the next season starts, so...
She's still wanting to know if you want to talk about what the actual story connection is.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Barry's children or his grandchildren when they bring them in. That's when the Flash comics kind of start to jump the shark.
Oh.
The King Shark?
No.
That would be beautiful if at some point this season you actually show Barry jumping over King Shark.
Although, you used to call him Land Shark. That's a different guy.
Land Shark.
You used to call him Land Shark.
Oh.
That was Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Something else.
Wow.
A lot of people online were excited that it was their daughter, and I'm like, not that excited about it.
Kyle, you're so harsh.
I
am excited.
No expectations
Not
about
either.
that.
They've left it with a lot to explore that
I would rather see her be a speedster than Iris.
Yeah, I didn't like that episode.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It's terrible.
That was weird.
I mean, it's just for more development. They understand each other's relationship better. Blah blah blah. I don't like Barry not having his powers. He was so.
Quite honestly, that was worse than the prison episodes.
I'm like, come on, people. Like, it's all for character development, but.
It's also stuff they've done on these superhero
I agree.
For me, for the purposes of the TV show, I would rather it be limited to, if you're going to do speedsters, Barry is the Flash and Reverse Flash. I don't want any more speedsters. I like seeing Barry learn how to use his speed and his speedster abilities to defeat somebody who's not a speedster. And it's
old-fashioned with some form of a Wells giving him advice and his team helping him out. That's classic.
Well, they just don't even bother developing. They're introducing him to introducing him. So between Kid Flash and Jesse Quick and all of the enemies, I mean, aside from Reverse Flash, because I think he's been sufficiently introduced, they just do it for the superficial reasons. They don't actually give them real developed backstories or character levels or things that would make you want to keep seeing them. And that's okay, because Violet Bean's on a new show, so Jesse Quick is probably gone for a while, and Kid Flash retired from acting, and they can probably
And we
recast
lost
him
Jay
anyway.
this season.
And we lost Jay for good. He's not coming back at all.
Well, his powers were starting to wane.
He retired.
And then he was going to train, but I don't think that actor's coming back. I think that was his farewell episode.
Aww, John Wesley Shipp, we'll miss you. So okay, no one's feeling real enthused except for.
I'm excited. I'm excited for
excited
more
for
elongated Man and Barry.
Yeah.
But
I think
the
if
other
they
plot
keep
lines-
that-
the other
if they
plot
keep
lines
that
I'm
partnership as far as when Barry goes out, if Elongated Man is joining him for some of those excursions, you have some really good interplay between them and, crossover powers where Flash can do it, but with the help of Elongated Man, that made for some interesting storylines.
Although I will say with the new crossover, if you look at all the Flash, Atom, Green Arrow, Superman, we almost have the Justice League.
I know!
So
And sort of a shadowy mention with Batwoman, Gotham City there. So it's like he's there, but not really. She's not good. But maybe she'll be good as Ruby Rose playing her.
Now,
I don't know.
Batwoman is not going to be part of the Arrowverse, is she?
So here's the trick. They're introducing the character in this crossover.
which is titled Elseworlds.
Right.
Nice.
With the potential of possibly exploring her in a backdoor pilot kind of way. Because now this is rumor and speculation, but I think Arrow's last season is imminent. I think we're about
I think
Oh,
so.
we said
Yeah,
that
just
in the
from-
last podcast.
Just from the way Stephen Amell talks,
Yeah.
it's going to
It sounds like he's ready to be done,
He's
and it
ready,
doesn't
he
work
is.
without him.
Right.
He said, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. He's at Comic-Con. He literally said, "I'm almost 40. Like it's a lot of, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of night shooting. It's a lot of being in Canada.
He's got a young kid.
He's got a young kid, and it's a lot of. He said, if the seasons were shorter, I'd be more apt to stay. But it's such a requirement for them that these seasons be over 20 episodes.
I wonder how much longer he's got left on his
I
contract.
don't know.
Technically, I think his first contract ended after like the 4th or 5th season. I think he's been doing it year to year after
Okay,
that.
Yeah.
so we really could be seeing the last season of Arrow.
And then if they end it, it'd be smart.
As long as they end it on a high.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even he knows that the writing has
He
suffered over the last couple of seasons.
He's said it without saying it.
Yeah, so what I think they're doing right now is looking for a possible replacement.
And he even said,
Batwoman, I don't know why, but maybe.
Because they're not allowed to do
They're not
Batman.
allowed.
Right.
And I think they really want to explore having another female-led series.
I mean, he literally even said in his panel, other
Are they
people.
not allowed to do Batgirl? That's what I don't understand.
There's gonna
I
be a
actually think
Batgirl
Batwoman
movie.
could
No,
be
Why?
kind of
but
interesting.
she's not in the movie. They can't use Batgirl, but then they're also not using her in Birds of Prey, which should be the Batgirl movie. Batgirl's not in it.
Wait, did
should
they scrap
just
that Joss
redo
Whedon
Birds
one?
of Prey
Huh?
TV
Yeah.
show?
They
Because
did
that
scrap
had
that.
potential.
What is Birds of Prey? Batgirl and
Batgirl's a
Black
super team
Canary.
called Birds of Prey. It's
She's
Batgirl,
Oracle, though.
Barbara Gordon. Then there's Black Canary, Huntress,
Huntress, yeah.
and then there's a couple. Cassandra Cain, who's a different
She's
Batwoman.
that person.
She's
Yeah.
not exciting.
The more interesting Batwoman than the one that that's getting her own show.
Maybe getting.
But then
from what
they're
it
so they're
sounds
making
like.
this Birds of Prey movie, but then which is why they can't use Batgirl. But then in this Birds of Prey movie, they're not using Batgirl either.
Weird.
Which doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. She
they're-
has to be there. That's okay.
Stop with your rules.
Oh,
I
and
can't-
in the movie, Harley Quinn's a member of Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because Margot Robbie's a producer now.
Yeah.
She's the reason it's moving along so far.
But
Because she's
that's
attached.
So it's
how
not
it
Birds of Prey.
works.
But people
She's
like Harley
supposed to
Quinn,
be
and
their
that means money.
enemy.
She's one of the sirens, not a Birds of Prey.
Right.
Ay, ay, ay.
You're ruining it. Okay.
Okay, I need $1 billion right now, and I will buy DC from Warner Brothers,
Here you go.
and we will run it.
And just to give you an idea of how bad this movie is being made by committee, they also are turning the Batwoman that's in it, they're making her 12 years old to appeal to kids.
That's where their mistakes are. They keep trying to appeal to demographics instead of the people who actually like the goddamn properties.
And they're making Black Canary actually black.
But they don't even have to
make it tie out the popularity of Shuri from Black Panther.
Okay, again, are any of those...
that's a little on the nose.
Yes, exactly.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's so much pandering. Like, why are you doing that?
Because they're trying to capture each individual demographic and get
ticket sales
But
you don't need to do that.
And
Marvel doesn't do that, and people of all ages love those. You don't need to do that.
This is depressing me.
Yeah.
DC
And it's
stupid.
the Flash podcast.
I mean, the only good thing is that the fact that they're not making a Flash movie now.
At least for the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, DC, if I didn't love so many of your characters, I'm telling you, we'd have a breakup or something. Because it's ridiculous. They're
your
so
TV
dumb.
universe is the only good thing going for you. You might as well just pump all your money into that and make it better. That's how I feel.
Although I'm hopeful for the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's small budget, and it's the director has complete control. He wrote the script. They're not
Todd Phillips, right?
Yeah, because it's not.
It's not the Joker, but it's...
The Elseworld stories are fun.
Some of the Elseworld stories are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's the
Some
thing.
of my favorite DC comics are Elseworld stories.
If they did more smaller budget ones where they're not risking as much, they don't have to be movies by committee, they would work better.
Agreed. Well, all right then. So, how do you think the show is faring? Well, obviously you said this is... Most people think the fourth season is weaker than the first two seasons, but better than the third season. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's on an upswing.
Anybody you want to see or anything you hope to see or any predictions you wish to make? I know you're kind of loath and betrayed by that process before, but anybody you wish or hope to see?
I'd like to see more Grodd. I hope we don't see Barry's and Iris's daughter too much.
Well...
But it looks like she may be a very central theme.
Might be focal.
And she's also a speedster, which leads me back to that problem of too many speedsters. Let's leave it at Barry and Reverse Flash.
Which also combines with they keep going back to the time travel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're really heavy on the time travel.
Yeah, that was my big issue
Instead
with
of
that.
all of his other, with him being speedster, all the other abilities it allows him to do, they are really stuck on the time travel aspect.
It's so funny. Everyone keeps saying in the show, you shouldn't travel through time, and then they keep traveling through time.
So technically it's her, not him this time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Still, though, he should have learned a lesson where he should just grab her, run her back to her time, and be like, never come back. Because, I mean, that's essentially what Jake
I'll
did to
see you
him.
when you're born.
She can't be from that far in the future.
So...
She's like 25.
If that.
So...
That's true.
I mean, it wasn't Iris pregnant at this point or not?
No, she's not pregnant.
Not yet.
But even then...
Cecile, yes. Cecile
that's right,
has a
Cecile's
baby.
pregnant. But even then...
Little girl.
It can't be more than 30 to 40 years in the future that she's come back from, if she's their daughter.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't introduce Bart, her son.
Oy.
Because Bart, as bad as Wally is, Bart is the worst Flash.
He is
Don't
the
ever
worst
introduce him.
He's not Impulse, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
and small.
God.
He was
Impulses.
fun and small, though.
But he takes the cockiness to the highest level.
Yeah.
And it's
He's
I
annoying.
know, but he was fun in Smallville.
Because if anything,
I'm sticking
Wally,
to
when
it.
he's first introduced, that's how Impulse is. Like that
I
very
know, but in
arrogant,
Smallville
cocky.
it's too-
Anyway, how would you rank the shows given this? How you feel about The Flash?
Flash is still number one.
This last season's of
Yes.
Legends of Tomorrow, I'd still put above this season of
So
Flash.
you
It
all
was more
have to do
fun
this.
to
You
me.
gotta
Legends
take
was
turns.
really fun.
Take turns.
Let's all talk at the same time.
I know. Kristen,
I
you
would-
start. Okay.
Oh,
Kyle.
well, I was already-
Let Kyle start.
Okay.
Since
Well,
I
that's
just
stuff.
said as Legends tops this season of Flash for me. As much as I love Flash, this season's of Legend was fun and
was
it worked
good.
that it was shorter. So there was no slog episodes. It was always moving towards the end goal. Then Flash I would put next just because it has the best cast out of all of them. Then probably Supergirl and then Arrow. Am I missing one?
Clarifying question.
Yes.
Are we just rating the four most current seasons or the shows?
However you
whole,
want
however
to
you
do
want.
it.
I'll go on current seasons, and I'm going to go fairly similar to Kyle, although I'm going to put Arrow above Supergirl, based on the current seasons.
Interesting. Okay, so following the based on current seasons, I would also put Legends first. Flash a very, very close second, just because I do like the cast. Supergirl third. Arrow a distant fourth.
If we're doing just the most current seasons, then I think Legends was the most enjoyable and entertaining to watch. Then Flash, then Supergirl, then Arrow. But overall, I would just switch
The top two.
Legends and Flash
Same.
overall.
I said in the last podcast, I think, that we did of DC, if we're just doing the seasons, Flash and Legends are tied for me for different reasons, and Supergirl and Arrow are tied at the bottom for different reasons.
But what are these reasons?
I mean, Arrow has been garbage for a long time.
Strong words.
But
Yeah.
I love you,
Much accurate.
love you, Stephen Amell. You're a very cool person, and I like him as Oliver Queen. But Supergirl, and we will talk about this soon, failed many ways this season for me, and I have been advocating it a lot. I was really for Supergirl before, but this last season was just not very good, and we will talk about that
So you have it tied with Arrow.
for this season.
Actually,
Yes, sir.
if I was just going to go this season, I would go Legends, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl.
Thank you.
What the
I agree.
But if I was going to go overall...
Overall
I
would be different, but
it
just
would
this
be
season,
different.
which is what we just did.
Overall would be, for
No.
me, Flash, Legends, Supergirl, Arrow, I think, now.
No, Legends this season was the best of all of this individual seasons.
I
And
wish
we'll-
I could see the look on last year, our faces from last year.
Yeah, we'd be smacking ourselves.
Yeah.
We
Because
would be...
Legends was getting spanked.
It was.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that
they
was the
really
discovery,
turned it around.
trying to discover itself season, and this year they
found it.
perfectly found their stride of
Beetle.
overarching story. The individual episodes were all brilliant, and all of that pop culture stuff that we all like, where they're referencing things like Steven Spielberg in college, or George Lucas in college, and
Or Barack Obama in college.
yeah, all of those little things.
Plus, I can't cheer on the addition of John Constantine more. I think
Yeah, that was a really good addition.
brilliant masterstroke, and he's a regular next season, so
Yeah,
I'm very
I'm-
excited.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll talk about Supergirl. That's kind of a bit of a foreshadowing. But at this point, would you recommend The Flash?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Still, yeah.
It's still a fairly solid show. It just has moments.
Yeah, I mean, if you cut out the I'd still say watch the Savitar season, but overall, it's by far the best DC property from beginning to end.
Yep.
And are you going to keep watching
Yes.
Yep.
because you have to or because you want to?
Want?
Both.
Want.
Yep.
I'll take
mean,
that as a want.
I do technically have to watch it, but
You-
yes.
I know.
But I do.
Only because Kyle ties you to a chair with your eyes braced open.
I'd like to see him try. But ultimately, I do love it, and I still love Grant Gustin as the Flash and all of that stuff.
Perfect casting.
Yep.
Agreed. Is there anything else you want to say about The Flash Season 4 or what you hope to see in Season 5?
I hope they don't screw up the suit like people are saying online they do.
Oh,
I've
have you
seen
the
this
picture?
too.
It's not bad.
It's just the mask,
The mask
or the
is
cowl that's upsetting because they did it halfsies. Like the chin piece is missing. So all you see, his head looks a little bobbly head because it's just the
It looks
face
like the
mask.
forehead looks bigger, like they built up the forehead, which
They
makes
took-
him have like a tiny little chin.
Huh.
So
Because
it looks like a bobblehead.
they took that part, which they shouldn't, but they took that part off around
Because they're trying to be
the
more comic book
jawline.
accurate, but the one that they designed for the show looks better.
Yeah.
Well, and it just fits Grant Gustin too. Like it was just an overall good design for him.
I don't have any opinion. I think it's fine.
Well, last season's suit was very good, so I was kind of surprised when I heard they were changing it again. It's not like they're merchandising it out
Maybe
to
it's
like a
just part
football
of-
jersey.
I think it's just part of Cisco's general
Yeah.
improvements.
I was gonna say it's part of one of the things of the show now is just to
He does it all the time.
yeah.
I would actually like to see a bit more of Cisco's, developing different bits of tech again this season. We seem to have gotten away from that a little bit.
Because he's vibing.
He's
Yeah,
vibing
vibing.
more, which is fun. But yeah, I'd like
But
to
it's
see a little
kinda-
bit more of
but-
his.
We all like that. I mean, you don't get. Because he gets so passionate and excited about all the things that he's making, and then that's when he's weaving in
Oh,
a lot
I
of those
remember.
pop culture things.
So I forgot they had a trailer for the new season where it shows where that suit came from. It comes from Nora, not Cisco. It's his suit from the future. It comes out of the little ring.
Oh, that's
I forgot about the ring. That's right.
Okay, I'm a little excited now because the ring is good.
See, I don't.
which
I,
is actually a Cisco invention, from my understanding.
Yes.
It will be eventually, yes.
Yeah.
It just hasn't invented. But
He
I
hasn't
love
invented
in
it
the
yet.
first season when he's talking to Ubard. How did you get that suit and that ring? He's like, all the questions in the world, Cisco, and that's the one you ask me.
It's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I think we'll see a better season 5. I honestly do.
Yeah, I think it will carry on up
definitely
as long
has
as they don't.
potential.
As long as they don't overdo the Nora thing, which that's the danger.
Just keep it fun. Don't
Yeah.
like wallow in like this
No.
season. And like that was the big problem with Savitar is Iris
So
is gonna
evil.
die. Iris is gonna die, and so it was a downer the entire season. So as long as they keep it light, like with Ralph and Flash, then I'll be fine.
Anything else?
No, I think we've said all of our pieces.
Well, if you've said all of your pieces and quick as a flash, I'd like to thank
Stop.
Nick. No. I'd like to thank Nick, Hilary, Kyle, Spencer, and Kristen for joining me once again to talk about The Flash as part of our DCTU series. But never fear, they'll be back very shortly. And to help us get to that very shortly procedure, I'm now going to read what I always do.
I try and avoid procedures.
Spencer. Sleeping is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Would you please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play. That means give us stars, comments, reviews, give us feedback, let us know what you like, what you don't, what we should keep, what we shouldn't. Give us suggestions for shows, comments, anything that you have that you'd like us to cover. We're open. Contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter. Though, of course, we have new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have several more new ones coming down the pike, as always. And if you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we covered, just find us on Google. We're easily searched nowadays. Until the next time, The Flash is available in its entirety on Netflix because the CW has the contract with Netflix, and Netflix, we're waiting, Netflix. That's all I have to say. In the meantime, our DCTU panel will next reconvene to discuss Season 3 of Supergirl in Part 15 of our ongoing DCTU series. So, until next time, until next episode, new episodes published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye!